dealing with, and we're going to continue on until we're through with the whole, but we're going to be the whole 3 chapters of Yeshua teaching from the Hebrew Basarah of Yeshua Ha Meshiach that Matthiu wrote. Okay, we're not going to be dealing with the English at all. We're going to be breaking down these words and studying them. We're going to be getting an ideal of what Yeshua was teaching, because as we have been translating this, we found out that it's in many cases quite different from the Greek and the English translations of the Hebrew of Matthiu. Okay, so let us pay attention and engraft this within ourselves, because these principles and these teachings, if we live it, Yeshua said that if you do and keep my saying, you shall be like a solid house, that no wind, no rain, no storm can cause you to fall. And that's the position we want to be in, emotionally, mentally, intellectually, rationally, and empirically so that we don't fall by every wind of doctrine, every deceitful cunning, and all the foolishness of religion that has overtaken us over the years. We want to be above this, and Yeshua assures us that these teachings will take us above this. Okay? So we want to get this. So we're going to start, and I'll just read it. Veyehe akare ze bayet chahi ve yira ha kabarot we yael ve iraha ve ahar we yeshib ve yikrebu lo tomedihu we yiftach pehu we yedibir elihim liomar. And being after this time that he saw the crowd, the multitude, and he upon the mountain, and he sat, and he called to them his students, his disciples, and he opened his mouth, and he worded upon them, saying, Ishrei Shapele Ruach Shalechim Mokut Shamahim. Prosperous or fruitful, prolific are the impoverished, okay, in spirit, or the impoverished of spirit. It shall be to them the kingdom of heaven. This is what it is here. Eshrei Shapeli Ruach Shalechim Mokut Shamayim. Okay? Get that? Again, Eshrei, prosperous, fruitful, prolific. The impoverished, those that are impoverished in the spirit. Shalachim, for to them the kingdom of heaven. And what we want to understand is this: Shapeli, to be impoverished. Okay? To be impoverished, or when you are in poverty, in most cases you're hungry. So we define impoverished from its Hebrew concept is to be in a conscious need of nourishment or enrichment. See, that a person who is poor, impoverished, is always seeking enrichment. That is, if he got sense. Some of us ain't got enough sense to seek enrichment when we are in a state of impoverishment. So I guess this is why Yeshua taught this, because he realized some of us ain't got the sense to know when we are impoverished. We fool ourselves to think that we are enriched. But he said, for those who are conscious of the fact that they are impoverished and are seeking nourishment, are seeking enrichment, it shall be to them the kingdom of Elohim. Shalachim Mokut Shamayim. The kingdom of heaven. Okay? Why is that? Why is the kingdom of heaven given to such as these? Okay? Because a person who, as I said before, who are impoverished and are conscious of their need, there is an action or a response to that impoverishment. They seek to be enriched. But if you are impoverished and you have accepted that poverty as a normality in life, you seek nothing. You acknowledge nothing. You just continue in poverty, in stupidity, thinking that it is normal to your station in life. You have accepted poverty as your station in life. To them, nothing will be given. Not of the kingdom. Okay? So here we will find out in the Beatitudes written from the Hebrew by Matthiu. We see a tenacity here. We see that Yeshua is always teaching that in order to attain, you got to do something. You have to be conscious. And in being conscious of that need, seek to fulfill that need. Because it is normal for the poor to seek enrichment. It is normal for the hungry to seek food. And when you no longer react in this normal capacity, then you are sick. You have become a slave. Because when you put chains on a man, the first thing he's thinking of is how to get out of those chains. And when you know you got chains on you and you are no longer struggling to get out of those chains, then you have become a slave. One who accepts a condition of constriction as the normality of your life. Okay? But for them who are poor in spirit, who are impoverished in spirit, with the reaction of seeking enrichment, they will always struggle to move forward. Okay? Because I'm sure that there were some who was listening to Yeshua who didn't realize that they were impoverished in spirit, being confused by religious aesthetics and rituals as religion. Okay? So he was making them aware that you need to check your spirit. Not your outfit. Not the hat that you got on. Not how much you give in your tithe. But to check your spirit and to see if there is any enrichment. See if there's a need to feed. And to fill yourself. To enrich yourself. With those qualities and characteristics that make you worthy for the Mokut Shamayim, the kingdom of heaven. Religion is a great fooler of the people. Religion builds beautiful temples, and it makes you feel enriched. Beautiful statues, it makes you feel enriched. prosperity of this earth. And when you attain to this material prosperity, you say, I'm okay. But it says elsewhere that Yeshua taught, woe be unto him that is rich, because in the Chava Olam you shall be poor. Rich in what? Rich in the riches that are defined as riches by the Goyim. Okay? Their ideal of riches. A stack of money. Big cars. A plane to fly in. All these things that gives a person a sense of false self-importance. These are rich in spirit. Okay? Rich in pride, the arrogance of pride. This richness caused them to think that they're better than those who are impoverished. Okay? But Yeshua come to them and say, oh no, it don't work like that. This is not how it works. How it works is, Esrei, fruitful, see? Prolific. See, that's a word that means productive. The productive ones who are poor in spirit, who are impoverished in spirit. Okay? Those that are poor in spirit, but they're prolific, they're fruitful. They're producing what? Riches. How? Through the firm action of faith that is directed towards the fulfillment of Yahweh's righteousness unto glory. All right? See, we got to put this, everything in perspective to the hope. If it's not directed to the hope, how do you achieve glorification? By the fulfillment of righteousness, which purifies the soul. Which what? Not only purifies the soul, but make you a partaker of divine nature. Because you recognize that I am poor within myself. I don't have the ability to produce divine love, divine wisdom, divine knowledge from myself. I acknowledge I am poor. I don't have the ability. I don't have the riches within myself. I don't have the riches within my nature. I don't have these riches. So now I must direct myself towards he who does. I must learn his ways, because he has promised me that if I seek him, I will find him, and in finding him, he will enrich me with all spiritual blessing in heavenly places. In what? Shamayim. And so this is why we need to fortify ourselves in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and stop listening to this foolishness. Okay? Because we're moving in another direction other than where the majority of the Messianic Hebrews as well as the Hebrew Israelites is going. You want to be stuck on race? I know I'm black. I love being black. I am African, Hebrew, and I'm proud of it, and I hold my head up high, and no one will take that away from me ever again. They will not take away my identity. They will not take away my language as I relearn it. They will not take away my culture as I redevelop it. I am proud of it. I don't need nobody to tell me a Hebrew is black, because when I look in the mirror, I know that a Hebrew is black. But I also know that a Hebrew is all who call upon the name of Yahweh, all who keep his commandments and the testimony of Yeshua unto the fulfillment of righteousness. So we're not going to just limit it to one community. Okay? Yahweh love goes to all community. We are the light to the Goyim. Okay? And whoever lift up his hand to receive, if we got the riches to give to him, we give to him. Irrespective of color. Irrespective of the racial limitations that is upon us through a life lived in a supremacist society that projects a race ideal that have only constricted us in the way that we think, in the way that we live, in the way that we react to the rest of the world. We won't be under those constrictions. So when we rise up, we're going to rise up in the emunah of Yeshua that was obedient unto death. Wherefore Yahweh has glorified him. Why? Because we realize that the life in this world, in supremacist society, in any racial doctrine, in any supremacist doctrine that we can produce, will not produce enough the riches of the wisdom of the knowledge of Yeshua Ha Meshiach, by which he appropriated in order to destroy the flesh, to bring it to an end, that he might be raised up into glory with the Father. That's where we want to be, in glory. And we can't be in glory worrying about the race doctrine of the supremacist culture. We got to transcend that. We can't be worried about who's this and who's that. We're not going to worry about that. But rather, do you call upon the name of Yahweh? Do you keep his word in order to fulfillment? Are you seeking first the riches of the wisdom of Yahweh, the riches of truth of Yahweh, the riches of love of Yahweh, the riches of mercy being engrafted in your heart, that you might produce a type of Yahweh within you, a replication of Yahweh within you, and manifest the power of Yahweh for the purpose of redeeming the world? No, we moving beyond the rhetoric, because it ain't got nobody nowhere. The only one that has prospered from the rhetoric of race doctrine is those that propagated it. That is, those 5% that's sitting up there on the hill with millions and billions of dollars looking at you fighting and arguing and debating over one another in your poverty. So we're going beyond that. We're not going to even answer to that. We are what we are. I am African. I'm proud of it. You're Latino. You're proud of it. You're Bantu. You're proud of it. But do you keep the commandments of Elohim and the testimony of Yeshua? Because this is the identity of those that are acceptable to Yahweh. So we want to acknowledge that within ourselves we are impoverished. We don't have the ability to attain to the glory of Yeshua Ha Meshiach by our own proper ability. Our color won't do it. Our ethnicity won't do it. Where we was born won't do it. The only thing that will do it is when we seek the enrichment, acknowledge, to make a conscious acknowledgement of a need of nourishment and enrichment. And to acknowledge that that nourishment and enrichment can come from only one. He who said, I, Yahweh Elohim, has brought you out of the land of Mizraim and out of the house of bondage. Have no other Elohim, no other powers upon my face. That is, to distract you, to set you apart from me. Don't cover my face from yourself by turning to these other powers. There is but one power, and that power is in Yahweh, through his Mashiach, Yeshua, the divine manifestation of Yahweh in bodily form. We want to understand this perfectly, so that we don't be deceived. Because these carnalizers of the word that build these flesh doctrines are weakening the movement, are weakening the people, are distracting the people from the most important thing, Ruach, spirit. He didn't say blessed, Eshere, Shepele, Basarah. Blessed are the poor in flesh. Prosper Prosperous are the poor in spirit. Fruitful are the poor. Prolific are the poor in flesh. He said prolific are the poor in spirit. Those who are conscious of the need of nourishment and enrichment. He said, to them, Shalahim Mokut Hashamahim, shall be given the kingdom of Elohim. Not those who want to be rich in the identity of the flesh. Woe is upon them. But Ashereh is upon us who seek nourishment and enrichment from Yahuwah Elohim. Selah. Baruch atah Yahuwah Eloheinu melech Israel. Ve Yeshua bin ha-Elohim. Adon et yom chasaba. Todata ki dibreka. Tetanu be Yeshua Ha Meshiach. Be Ruach HaKadosh. Gebura. Amen. Well, this ends the Sabbath. And as we continue to study and as we continue to get better in our Hebrew, continue to articulate it, we're not going to point at when we mispronounce words or we make a mistake or whatever. It's not our first language. We got a slave language right now. But we're moving into articulating Hebrew. We want to, in the next few years, be able to speak it fluently with one another. Biblical Hebrew. People want to call it Yiddish or they want to say this and all that. We're going to keep on studying what we got. We ain't going to worry about what they had 2,000 years ago. We're going to worry about what we got now to master it. Master what's before you. Don't talk to me about what's behind me. Okay? So in this year of the Goyim, 2013, we want to begin mastering teachings of Yeshua, the understanding of the commandments, and the Lashon HaKadosh, the holy language of the scriptures. And we're going to get into the deeper science of this holy language. I want to speak it better. I can read it real good, but sometimes my speech, because I don't use it in speaking all the time, I have to correct myself. Okay. And when you're around the carnalizers, they like to correct you, try to minimize you, try to do things. So we got to lift our minds above that, because I have noticed that there is a consistent personality within this movement that Satan has put in it to constantly criticize, demean, negate, and minimalize to destroy your confidence in the direction that you're going. So stand firm, people. Stand firm in this emunah that we have, because I'm going to tell you it is the truth. Because it is guided by the wisdom of Torah and the testimony of Yeshua. And it will lead us, if we are consistent in developing this new culture of life, exodus, departing from the life of the Goyim. We don't want to envy him, nor take on any of his ways, but we want to deny it until that all that remains in our lives is the cultural dynamics of divine law. Complete. We done seen the traitors. We done seen the backbiters, the slanderers, the thieves, and the defrauders. And we have turned to the left. But now we're moving forward. We're tired of being victimized. So now everybody pull up your loincloths. Because as Yahweh begins to answer our prayers, we're going to find out that we don't need the masses of the people. We need the power of Yahweh Elohim. And the people will come and they will respond to the acts of power from the highest level of spirituality to the practical level of economical development and manifestation. They will come. They will come when we take more responsibility to be consistent in a redemptive approach to life that is in congeniality with the laws of Yahweh Elohim. So Eshrei Shepeli Ruach Shalekim Mokut Shamayim. The kingdom of heaven is ours. The kingdom of heaven is ours. Shalom Aleichem.